Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're tuning in from around the globe. Good morning, peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Welcome to the Trillion Dollar Tickers broadcast. I'm your host, Matt Riches. The weekend is here, and we are updating the most watched watch list in the world right now. That is the Iran War 2026 watch list. The markets are trying to figure out if the ceasefire is real or just a pause before the next storm. Remember, I watch the charts, give the news breakdowns, and find a level so you don't have to. The big question is today, is the oil and defense trade over? I'm going to pull up some of these companies and we'll check out the watch list and see what's going on. Let's check it out. Let's get into it. We have BNO. Remember last week when we did an update? This thing was running. This thing was running dramatically. Remember, this was the first day. And then this was Thursday. So we was up 43%. Look what has happened in a week. We would have been up just 24% right now. It's actually down 15% from the all-time high. And as you can see, this gap down here, it did fill it a little bit. We have another gap right here. So yes, it looks like the oil trade is definitely fading, y'all. So if you want some levels to the downside, we do got the top of this gap right here at 45.57. The bottom of the gap is 44.47, followed by a daily level at 44.20, and then 42 even. To the upside resistance, we got 47.65, 49.05. Then we got this small gap, and this next gap begins at 51.03. All right, let's check out USO. Let's start back where the first day. This is about week 6 from the start of this watch list. So last week we ended the week up 55%, and look what has happened. It hit an all-time high on Tuesday, and it's since dropped, and now it's up 40%, which is still great. Still great, but it is what? 13% off the all-time high right now. So if you want some levels to the downside, right now it's at 124.82. Levels to the downside, we got 124.10, 121.70, 120.50, 118.40. To the upside resistance, we got the top of the day on Friday, which is 127.80, followed by this gap right here, very small gap, but I do have a daily level right inside there at 129.80, followed by 132. All right, next we got XLE. Let's see where we started. March 2nd. It was up at the high of 9%, 9.8% up. And it is currently down 1.4%. Okay, and that is what? How much is that off the all-time high? 10% off the all-time high. So if you want levels to the downside, we got the low of Friday, 56.42, followed by 56.20, 55.37, 55, 53.75. You want upside resistance, we got the high of the day on Friday, 57.47, followed by 58.45. Then we got this gap right here that starts at 58.98 and it goes all the way to 59.78 and then 60.85. All right, we got XOP next. So XOP, XLE, and IEO are all just oil and gas ETFs. So they're all pretty much the same. They ran up and hit the high of the year or all-time high at the same time. And they're pretty much down the same. So I'm going to just go ahead and give you the levels here. I don't want to make this video too long. Try to keep it under 10 minutes if possible. That's how we've been doing on the weekend charting shows. Okay, current price 168.46. To the downside support, we do have a daily level here at 167.80, followed by the low of Friday 165.75, 164.10, and then the start of our consolidation zone 161.20. To the upside resistance, we got the high day on Friday 169, followed by this gap. Pretty big move up to the gap. So let me give you another level here. 170.42, 172.26, and then the bottom of the gap, which is also a weekly level at 174. All right, IEO, this is the same thing. Go ahead and give you these levels. Currently 115.92 to the downside support. We got the lower day on Friday 114.29, followed by 114.10, 112.30, 111.30. To the upside resistance, we got 117.80, 118.80, and then we got the bottom of this gap here 119.85, and then our daily level, which is inside the gap at 120.70. All right, next, our first defense stock. We actually didn't start the defense stocks until 1 week after, but interestingly enough, it hit an all-time high on the first day, which was March 2nd. So Lockheed Martin is actually, it was down 14%, then it bounced up, but it's currently down 11.3% from the all-time high. So if you want some levels to the downside here, we have the low of the day on Friday, which is 606.97. Very close level here, 605.42. And then our daily level here at 597.50. And I'll give you one a little bit lower than that, 594.40. And then to the upside resistance, we got the high day on Friday, which is 621.76, followed by 630.59. And then a weekly level, 634.40. Next, we got Northrop Grumman. It also hit an all-time high on March. This one hit an all-time high on March 3rd, and it's since sold off. It did go to a low of 14% off before bouncing, and now it is currently at 12.95% off the all-time high. So our levels to the downside, we're going to have a lower day on Friday, which is 665.54, followed by 664 even, then 661, 653.10. All right, to the upside resistance, we got the high day on Friday, which is 686.79, followed by 691, 699, and 708. All right, next we got Raytheon, now RTX Corporation. It also hit an all-time high on March 3rd. It actually pulled back a lot further to minus 13.5%, but it recovered very, very nicely all the way up to minus 4%. And now it's currently minus 6% from the all-time high. Okay, you want some downside support levels? We got, okay, the current price is 201.56. Downside support is going to be 201.10, followed by 198.40, and then a lower day on Friday, 197.88, and then 196. And upside resistance, we got 203, we got 203.82, 205.40, 206.50. Next, we got Chevron. All right, Chevron. Comparing the others, we started here at the top of the candle on March 2nd. It hit an all-time high on March 30th, which was up 12%. And now it is down 12%. 12.18% from the all-time high. Okay, so you want some support levels. We have the low of the day on Friday, 186.64. And then we actually have our smart money concept support zone here. So I do expect there to be a lot of buyers here, so I don't expect it to break through this zone very easily. If it does get to the midpoint of this zone, we do have a daily level right here at 184.20, and then the bottom of this zone is going to be 180, 185. Then if we keep selling off, I do have a level here at 180.60. To the upside resistance, I do have 189.90, followed by the high day on Friday, 191, and then 194.30 before we get to the bottom of this gap at 196.74, and then 199.36. All right, last but not least, ExxonMobil. So if we're starting it at the same position as the others, when it hit an all-time high on March 30th, it was up 10%, and since then it has fell to minus 13.5%. Okay, downside support levels. We do have a low of the day on Friday, which is 151.95, followed by 151, and then 148.50. If you want a level in between there, I'll give you 149.50. To the upside resistance, we got 154.20, 155.60. I'll give you 156.50, and then 158.80. All right, that is the update on our watch list. Is the oil trade over? Is the defense trade over? It's looking like it, folks. It looks like the money is flowing back into technology because tech has been running crazy the past week. We'll see what happens when we get to the 2-week mark where Trump said the war is going to be over. But I'll be back tomorrow morning in the pre-market for the pre-market briefing, giving you 3 levels to the downside, 3 levels to the upside on our $1 trillion tickers for the day traders. And we'll be back with the news in the Market Open show. 2 shows a day now, every day, Monday through Friday, as long as the market is open. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. Peace, blessings, financial freedom. I'm your host, Matt Riches. This is your show, $1 Trillion Tickers. Peace, blessings, financial freedom.